I was halfway through grading Year 8 history papers when every light in my house flickered and died. The laptop screen dimmed, then pulsed white. I thought it was a blackout at first, until every device around me lit up with a piercing red glow. My phone vibrated violently on the table. The television, even though it was off, crackled to life, screen static, then red. And then came the voice. Emergency alert. Lock all doors and windows. Stay inside. Do not respond to anyone outside, even if they sound like family. It wasn't just a text alert. The voice, metallic, emotionless, almost too calm, echoed from every speaker. It repeated the message word for word. 5 seconds of silence. Then again. Emergency alert. Lock all doors and windows. Stay inside. Do not respond to anyone outside, even if they sound like family. I sat frozen, my hand hovering over the keyboard, eyes glued to the television screen. This wasn't a test. The banner in the bottom corner confirmed it. This is not a drill. I live in a small town called Holston, one of those rural English places people barely remember. You'd never expect anything to happen here, maybe a bar fight at the pub or an escaped cat. But this felt like war, or something worse. I grabbed my phone, fingers trembling, and tried to call Kate, my best friend. No signal. I switched to text. Nothing sent. Wi-Fi gone. Radio? Hit. Only the emergency alert repeated, louder now. I walked to the window, pulled back the curtain. Outside the street was still, motionless, like time itself had paused. Porch lights glowed across neighbors' homes. One or two people stood in their doorways staring at the sky. And that's when I heard it. A low moaning, distant but unmistakable. A sound like a dying animal dragging itself across gravel. Then screaming, one short burst like someone had just seen something they shouldn't have. Then silence. I rushed to the front door and bolted the deadlock. The alert's words rang in my ears. Lock all doors and windows. I ran room to room, closing everything. Bedroom, bathroom, kitchen, even the hatch to the attic. I tried to shake the feeling that this was some sort of elaborate plan. Or maybe an experimental psychological test. But then came the third alert. They are here. Do not trust the voices. Do not look into their eyes. My stomach dropped. They? Who the hell were they? Just then my landline rang. I didn't even know it still worked. No one had used it in years. I picked it up, hesitant. Liam, the voice said, was my mom. But my mom died in a car accident 7 years ago. My blood ran cold. I didn't say a word. Liam, I'm outside, sweetheart. It's me. I need you to open the door, love. Please. I'm so cold. I dropped the phone. The knock came 3 seconds later. Soft, measured. Knock, knock, knock. She knocked like she always did. 3 times, slow and gentle. The way she used to when she forgot her keys after taking the bins out. A childhood memory I'd buried deep suddenly rose, burning behind my eyes. Then she called again. Liam, baby, I'm scared. I crept toward the door, heart hammering in my chest. The peephole was warped slightly from the years, but I could still see her. My mother. Same knitted cardigan. Same gray streak in her fringe. Same kind eyes. But something was wrong. Her face wasn't quite right. She didn't blink. She didn't breathe. She just stood there, still as death, smiling. The smile was too wide. Open the door, sweetheart, she said again, softer this time. Like she was pleading. Like she knew I was watching. I stepped back. My legs barely worked. My brain screamed to run, to hide, to do anything but listen. I turned around to head upstairs. When the back door creaked open, I froze. I knew I had locked it. My body acted before my brain could catch up. I lunged for the kitchen, heart in my throat. The door hung half open, wind gently rustling the curtain. And in the reflection of the microwave door, I saw a figure step inside. Tall, thin. No, it didn't have a face. Just smooth skin where eyes, nose, and mouth should be. And yet I heard it whisper, "You left me outside too long." I bolted. I don't even remember how I got to the staircase. I only remember grabbing the chair from the hallway and smashing it against the door as I slammed it shut. I ran upstairs and locked myself in the bedroom, shoving a dresser in front of the door. My phone still had no signal. The emergency alert now displayed a new line. Do not sleep. Do not turn off the lights. They hunt in the dark. The lights in the bedroom flickered. My breath caught in my throat. From the floor then came the sound of breathing. Not mine. Shallow. Quiet. Like something was mimicking the sound of life. I moved slowly toward the vent. Every instinct in my body screamed to not look. to pretend I hadn't heard it. But I had to know. I bent down, and from within the vent, a voice whispered, "You look tasty, Liam." It giggled, like a child. A hollow, empty giggle that echoed where no air should move. I screamed and jumped back. The light bulb overhead burst. Darkness swallowed the room. For several seconds I didn't move. I didn't breathe. I didn't even blink. Then the door creaked. Not the front door. Not the back door. The bedroom door. The one I'd locked. The one blocked by a heavy oak dresser. Something was pushing it open from the other side. It shouldn't have been able to. And then, a voice from the hallway. "Liam, it's me. Kate, I need help." I hesitated. That voice, it did sound like Kate. Almost perfect. Almost. But there was a static quality underneath it. Like it was pulled through a broken radio. "Please," the voice said. "I'm bleeding. They're chasing me. Let me in. Please, Liam." My hand moved to the doorknob on instinct. Then I remembered the alert. Even if they sound like family. I took a deep breath. I said nothing. The voice paused. Silence. Then it laughed. Not like Kate. Not like anyone I'd ever heard. A dry, scraping sound like something trying to imitate laughter without knowing what it truly was. Then came the sound of fingernails scratching down the door. Just like steel. "You're a smart one, Liam," it said. "But smart meat still rots." The scratching stopped. Then, absolute silence. I didn't move from that spot until the morning light crept through the blinds. When I finally opened the door, the hallway was empty. No blood, no scratches, no broken furniture, like nothing had happened. But every screen in the house still displayed the alert. Emergency ongoing. Do not leave. Do not let them in. Do not let them see you sleep. And in the middle of my living room floor was a photograph I'd never seen before. It was me, sleeping in bed, taken last night, from inside the room. They left the photo in the center of my floor like a trophy. Me, sleeping, mouth slightly open, hand curled near my face like a child. Captured from the edge of the room, from inside. But I had locked everything. I had checked it twice. The bedroom door was jammed shut with a dresser. Every window bolted. Down. Worse. Went. I hadn't slept. No, I didn't. I sat up all night, holding the hammer I pulled from the kitchen drawer, staring at the walls, listening for sounds that never came. But the photo, proof that I had. Or that something else was lying. The emergency alert still pulsed red on my laptop, phone, TV, all of them frozen on the same message. Do not sleep. Do not let them see you. Do not answer the door. The messages were changing, evolving. Almost like whoever or whatever was sending them knew what was happening in real time. I finally got the courage to leave the house. Not far, just out to the porch. The town was too quiet. You'd think that during an emergency, there would be police sirens, people screaming, someone yelling orders. But Holsdale looked like someone had pressed pause on life. Cars sat still with doors wide open. Noise scattered across lawns. One house down the street had its front door hanging loose, hinges bent like something pushed its way in or clawed its way out. And then I saw it. 3 houses over. My neighbor, old Mr. Langley, standing on his roof, staring straight up at the sky, arms wide, mouth open, not blinking. I stepped off the porch and took a few steps down the path. "Mr. Langley?" I called. No response. Then he turned his head sharply, too sharply, and looked at me. But his eyes weren't eyes anymore. They were mirrors. What? Reflecting not me, but someone standing behind me. I whipped around. No one. When I looked back, Mr. Langley was gone. Just gone. No sound. No movement. No trace. That's when I noticed the birds. Frozen in the day. Like someone had painted them there. Wings spread. Eyes hollow. In the sky, it flickered. Just once. But I saw it. Alive. A glitch. Like a screen rebooting. Something was wrong with reality itself. I sprinted back into the house and slammed the door shut. The alerts were still flashing. Do not trust the voices. Do not trust the faces. I tried texting again. Nothing. Then, miracle. My landline rang again. I didn't want to pick up, but I had to. "Hello?" I whispered. "Liam?" It was Kate. This time I was sure. "Where are you?" I asked, desperate. "Are you safe?" "I'm in the hospital bunker. The old one is in the general ward. There's a few of us here. We've barricaded the entrance." "But," she hesitated. "What?" "It's spreading." I froze. "What's spreading?" She didn't answer at first. Then she said, "They can look like us now. Perfect. They copy man Kate's voice cracked. He wasn't real. He didn't even have organs. Before I could respond, a whisper came from the receiver, not from Kate, from something else. Said my name. Not once. Not twice. Over and over. Liam? 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 Soft. Musical. Like a child humming a lullaby. Then the line went dead. I threw the phone across the room. My ears buzzed. I could still hear it faintly, like it was inside my skull. I looked around. That's when I saw the figure outside the window. It was me, standing in my garden. Same shirt, same jeans, same scratch I'd gotten on my hand from a broken plate earlier. It looked perfect, too perfect. It waved, then it mouthed something. I couldn't hear it, but I knew what it said. Let me in. It smiled wider than a human face should allow. Then it bent backwards, spine cracking, until its head touched the grass, mouth still grinning up at the sky. I fell back, tripping over the coffee table. When I scrambled back to the window, it was gone. Gone like Mr. Langley. But it had left something behind on the lawn. A note, written in my handwriting. You're not real either. I spent the next hour in the bathroom, staring at my reflection, trying to see if I was still me. I remembered things. My mother's perfume. My bike's broken pedal. The girl I kissed behind the library in sixth form. But the doubt kept growing. What if I had already been replaced? What if that thing was the real Liam and I was the copy? I broke the mirror, just to be sure. That night I didn't sleep. I couldn't. Every few minutes I'd hear footsteps in the attic, then the basement, then scratching behind the walls. And at exactly 3:33 a.m., the emergency alert changed again. Do not look into the mirrors. Do not listen to the reflections. Do not talk to yourself. I turned every mirror in the house to the wall, even my phone camera, but I still saw glimpses. In the reflection of the kettle, in the dark screen of the TV, myself blinking at the wrong times, smiling when I wasn't, moving slightly out of sync. I was unraveling. Then the power cut out completely. Total black. No alerts. No screens. Just breath. Right behind me. Then a whisper. You left me outside too long. The same voice as before, from the faceless thing. But this time it was inches from my ear. I swung the hammer wildly. Did nothing. I locked myself in the bedroom again. This time I didn't sleep. I pressed my back against the door and stared into the dark. That's when I saw the note, folded neatly beside my foot. You're doing well. Keep pretending. They're watching. The paper was warm, like someone had just written it seconds before. I didn't write it, but it was in my handwriting. Exactly. Identical. And at the bottom, a line that wasn't mine. We are learning. Soon we won't need to knock. The note sat beside me for hours. You're doing well. Keep pretending. They're watching. It didn't move. Neither did I. I sat with my back against the bedroom door, hammer in hand, heart hammering harder. My breath came in shallow, controlled gasps, like I could keep my presence a secret from whatever was listening. Because something was. The darkness in the house had changed. It wasn't just the absence of light, it was dense, like it had weight and texture, like something could crawl out of it. Sometimes it did. At 4:06 a.m., the emergency broadcast returned. This time only audio. The television and phone remained dark, but the old shortwave radio in the attic, the one my dad used to tinker with before he passed, buzzed to life. This is not a drill. This is not a test. If you are receiving this message, you are still human. Do not trust what you see. Do not trust what you hear. They have breached the outer layer. I leaned in, adjusting the crackling dial. Static hissed then. Do not trust your own voice. If you hear yourself, run. Then silence. That was it. I didn't know what the outer layer was, but I knew it was bad. I kept the radio on low like a heartbeat in the background. Somehow, its static made the house feel less empty, less alive. I needed to move. Staying still was no longer an option. The things in the dark, they were learning. I didn't know how, but they were adapting, evolving, copying more than just voices now. I packed what little I could. Torch, batteries, a dull kitchen knife, the hammer, cans of beans, water bottles, and that damn photo, the one of me sleeping. At 6:22 a.m., the sun should have risen, but it didn't. The world outside remained gray and dim, like dust frozen in time. The street lamps were dead. The birds still hung midair like decorations, and the sky continued its occasional flicker, like it was buffering reality. I opened the door. For the first time in 2 days, I stepped outside. The air was thick and cold, heavier than it should be. I crept past the garden gate looking around. Everything looked the same, yet wrong. The angles of houses were slightly distorted. Mailboxes leaned toward me. The pavement was suddenly warped, like a ripple under concrete. I needed to get to Kate, the hospital bunker. That was the plan. But 20 paces down the street, I saw someone walking ahead, dragging a leg, hunched, twitching slightly. Tom? I called out. It looked like my neighbor, Tom Harper. Same coat, same limp, same balding patch on the back of his head. He turned, smiled. But the smile didn't connect with his eyes. They were glassy, wrong, reflective. I froze. He raised a hand in a wave, but the hand had too many fingers. 7. All long and crooked like twigs. You okay? I asked cautiously, stepping back. He nodded, but the motion was delayed, like the command reached his neck a second too late. Then he said my name, Liam. But it wasn't a question. It was a statement, like he was trying it on, like a word that didn't quite fit his tongue. Tom, what's happening? I asked, gripping the hammer tighter. Come with me, he said. It's safer now. The storm is over. What storm? He tilted his head, then smiled wider, and that's when I saw him. He had no shadow. I ran. Past houses, alleys, the town square. The sky flickered more violently now, like lightning trapped in static. Every screen and shop windows displayed the same frozen alert. Even vending machines blinked red. Do not trust your own shadow. I reached the old hospital, breath ragged. The emergency room entrance was half demolished, windows shattered. But I remembered Kate's directions. Down, into the sublevels. The lift didn't work, so I found the old fire escape stairwell. Rusty, claustrophobic, stained. 4-1-2-3, until I saw it. An iron door cracked open slightly, lit faintly from behind. I knocked. Kate. Pause. Then footsteps. She opened it. Thank God, it was her. Hair tied back. A deep cut on her forehead. Blood on her sleeve. But her eyes were sharp. Human. Get in, she hissed, pulling me through. She slammed the door and bolted it with chains and a rusted bar. The bunker was dimly lit, lined with flickering emergency bulbs. 5 others were there. 2 nurses. A man in a postal uniform. An elderly woman who clutched a crucifix in both hands. And a boy, maybe 9 or 10, sitting silently in the corner, hugging his knees. Kate led me deeper into the shelter. We don't have much time, she said. They've started mimicking perfectly. I know, I said. One of them with my top. No shadow. She nodded grimly. That's one way to tell. But they're getting smarter. One of them figured out how to fake a shadow. Used oil and floor lamps. My stomach turned. What the hell are they? Kate looked away. We think they came through the signal. The signal? She gestured to the wall, rows of old analog televisions, static dancing across the glass. 3 weeks ago, a deep space probe crashed in Greenland. It was picking up frequencies. Old ones. Ones we didn't understand. Then people started vanishing. Entire villages in Iceland, gone. No bodies. Just shadows. I stared at the TVs. Why would I see anybody then? She shook her head. We think they're not from space. They're from somewhere between. And the probe didn't discover them. It woke them. She walked over to the boy. This is Jonah, she said softly. He hasn't spoken in 2 days. Not since his parents changed. I knelt beside him. Hey, Jonah. He didn't respond, just kept rocking slowly. But then he started humming. A song I hadn't heard in over 20 years. My lullaby. The one my mom sang to me when I was 5. I looked at Kate. Her eyes widened. You didn't tell me that was your lullaby, she whispered. I didn't, I said. The boy stopped humming, then looked at me, and smiled. His teeth were all identical. Every single one same size. Same shape. Perfect. Too perfect. I stood up. Kate, that boy isn't human. The boy began to twitch, slightly at first, then violently. One of the nurses screamed. The man in the postal uniform pulled a fire extinguisher off the wall and swung. Too late. Jonah's body split down the middle, not with blood, but with static. A chasm of black and soundless distortion. He lunged. Chaos erupted. Screams. Smoke. Shadows flickering across the ceiling like twisted puppets. I grabbed Kate's hand and ran, barely dodging as the thing that wore Jonah's skin slammed into the wall, distorting it like rippling water. The survivors scattered. Kate and I made it into a maintenance shaft and slammed the door shut. It's not safe here anymore. They've breached this level. I nodded. We need to find where the signal's coming from. She hesitated, then said, there's one place. The original broadcasting tower. It's off-grid, built during the Cold War. And that's where they're coming through? She nodded slowly. If we kill the signal, we might close the breach. The radio in my bag buzzed again. A voice. Liam. You left me in the attic. Then laughter. My laugh. Mocking. Distorted. Kate looked at me, eyes narrowing. How long have you been hearing that? I didn't answer. But we both knew the truth. Whatever these things were, one of them had already gotten inside me. When we sealed the maintenance door behind us, I finally realized what it meant to be truly hunted. Not by something you can outrun. Not by something you can fight. But by something that knows your smile, your memories, your heart. Kate and I moved through the tunnels in silence. The radio in my bag still hissed. Occasionally, it whispered my name in my own voice, faintly like a dream you forget as it ends. We didn't speak until we reached the steel hatch to the outer tunnels. There was a keypad. She entered the code. The door opened with a metallic sigh that echoed far too long. On the other side, a corridor full of survivors. More than I expected, maybe 20. Some huddled together, whispering. Others sat alone, rocking. Faces pale, sunken. All under dim emergency lights. As we stepped inside, their heads turned in unison. All of them. No blinking. No breathing. Then, after 2 seconds, they continued what they were doing. I froze. My grip tightened on the hammer. I leaned close to Kate. Are you sure they're human? She nodded, too quickly. But her eyes didn't meet mine. We moved to the back of the shelter, past rusted lockers and tattered blankets. Kate pointed to a dark room at the end of the hall. We'll be safer in here. I hesitated. Why didn't you mention all of these people earlier? She paused. I didn't think you'd make it this far. The way she said it, so matter of fact, it chilled me more than anything. Inside the room was a makeshift lab. Radio parts, wires, old hard drives, pages pinned to the walls with frantic scribbles. Drawings, a record, distorted faces, mouth stretched to ears, empty sockets, notes reading. Can't mimic eye movement when under UV. They remember things you haven't done yet. Don't let them watch you sleep. I stared at the last one. The survivors are infected. They just don't know it. That's when I noticed Kate was staring at me. Too long. Too still. You've changed, she said. I've barely spoken. That's what I mean. She took a step forward. Where did we first meet? Don't do this. Tell me. The sixth form library, I said. She squinted. Which table? My heart pounded. Far right corner. We had a nosebleed from stress. She didn't blink, then slowly smiled. You are you, she whispered. For now. That for now lingered in the air like rot. She turned away and reached behind the desk, pulling out a thin box. Inside, a tablet loaded with maps and signal tracking. She tapped the screen. This, she said, is where the alert signal started. It showed an old location, Pineford Relay Station, 30 miles north. Shut down since the 90s. Cold War era. No staff. No power, supposedly. But it's online now, Kate said. Just barely. Someone turned it back on manually. Why? She looked up at me. To send the alert. I stepped back. The government? She shook her head. No, it wasn't a warning. It was a trigger. The alert activated them. I stared at her. The emergency alert let them in? She nodded. That's why it said, do not respond. That's why it spoke. Voice recognition. If you heard it, they could find you. If you spoke back, they could enter you. I thought back to the first night. When I screamed. When I spoke. The phone call. I had answered it. I had responded. Oh God. Kate saw it in my face. You've been exposed, she said. She backed toward the door. You might already be compromised. I reached out, panicked. No, wait, Kate. She raised the hammer I dropped. Don't. You don't even know what you are anymore. I froze. My hands trembled. My heartbeat thundered in my ears. Then a soft voice behind her said, Kate, it's okay. She turned. Standing in the doorway, Kate. Another Kate. Same haircut. Same jacket. Same scar. Same tone. I found the backup radio, the second Kate said. We can contact the outside now. Kate, the first Kate, dropped the hammer slightly. And for a moment, both Kates just stared at each other. Same stance. Same smile. Same eyes. but only one of them blinked. I didn't wait. I grabbed the real Kate and yanked her back as the other lunged, mouth wide, skin peeling back to reveal static and gristle. A scream like a tuning fork echoed down the hall. The others, the so-called survivors, rose from their blankets. Eyes glassy, smiles too wide, hands reaching out, fingers splitting into tendrils. They were all infected, I gasped. Kate didn't speak. She was already running. We darted into the side corridor, slamming the door behind us. The real Kate grabbed a flare gun from the shelf and fired through the glass panel. The creature screamed, burning with unnatural light, its form flickering like a damaged file on a corrupted computer. We ran through the winding halls, breath burning, shadows crawling behind us like smoke. Finally, we made it to a ladder leading up to an emergency exit. She turned to me. They're going to take over, Liam. Completely. Not just the town, everywhere. How do we stop it? She climbed nearly at the top. We go to Pineford. We kill the source. I followed her. We emerged into night. But it wasn't night. The sky was red. Blood red. And in the distance over the trees, a tower blinking. Once every 4 seconds. The signal. The source. The place where it all began.